Strong winds in parts of Southern California today as fires continue burning. First responders urging everyone to stay vigilant.
It's not putting off a lot of smoke, but it is pretty intense heat.
And good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. As crews continue working to contain the devastating Palisades and Eaton fires, a new fire broke out in Southern California earlier today. The Little Mountain Fire started this afternoon in San Bernardino County just as winds began to kick up in this area. The first crews to arrive at this scene asked for help from 10 more engines, and they all quickly got this fire under control. In the end, 34 acres burned, but no homes or structures were damaged. And tonight, investigators say a man was arrested near the scene of this fire on suspicion of reckless burning. Now, the fight against California's largest fires is far from over tonight. Crews at the scene of the Eaton fire got containment up to 45% today. That's a sharp increase from 35% at this time yesterday. More than 4,000 homes and other structures have been destroyed, with 14,000 acres burned. 17 people have died in this fire. The granddaughter of one of those killed says she is sick over what happened to her grandmother and her community.
It's heartbreaking, gut-wrenching, and it just looks like a war-torn zone. It looks like a bomb was landed on Altadena.
Crews are making progress at the scene of the Palisades fire tonight. Containment there is up to 19%. Today, cameras captured images of firefighters responding to some hot spots in the fire zone. This fire has claimed 8 lives and charred more than 23,000 acres while destroying more than 2,000 structures. Evacuees are eager to see their homes, but authorities are asking them to be patient.
Significant safety and infrastructure issues remain, including downed power lines, broken gas lines, hazardous materials, and unsafe water. Please know that we are working diligently to address these challenges and ensure your safety and the safety of our first responders.
And at this point, investigators have not determined the causes for the Eaton or Palisades fires. Today, crews were able to get the upper hand on another brush fire in Ventura County. Video posted online shows the auto fire as it flared up this morning. Crews were able to stop its spread after it burned about 60 acres, and tonight the fire is 50% contained. Firefighters are expected to remain in this area until they do have full containment. Thankfully, no homes were damaged in this fire. For more, let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Mark Tamayo, who is tracking the windy conditions that have really been challenging firefighters for more than a week. But it seems as though those crews are going to get a break.
Yeah, we are definitely trending in the right direction, Alex. In fact, the red flag warning, which was covering a good portion of Southern California from Santa Barbara all the way to San Diego, no longer in place. Now, we do have a few isolated areas, these areas in red, where we still have some lingering warnings for tonight and into your Thursday. So winds could be in these areas in the hills of Southern California for these regions. Winds could be gusting to maybe 30 to 40 miles an hour, but this is not a major wind event, but still elevated fire danger, and they do have to take this seriously. But some changes as far as the red flag warning in place. Showing you this, the current wind reports, and thankfully we're showing you lots of single digits. So this is a nice update for the 7 o'clock hour, as you can see here. And the wind forecast model, this is tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock. Still a bit of a breeze, especially in the higher elevations, and then into tomorrow afternoon. This is a great pattern developing. You can see more of an onshore wind that will transport some higher moisture levels, and you can see the wind's actually not too bad. Into a Friday, pretty much the same story, although we could see the winds kind of ramp up for portions of Southern California. But once again, we are tracking those onshore winds as well for Friday. Something we are watching, though, long range will be this. Into next week, we could see another potential wind event, another potential Santa Ana wind event for Southern California, and also some gusty offshore winds for Northern California. So there's a lot of uncertainty with this pattern, but it could be as early as Sunday for Northern California, and then Monday and Tuesday down towards Southern California. But this is the pattern we do not like to see, and that could be at least a possibility into early next week. In Los Angeles today, showing you a bit of that haze. Temperatures in the lower 70s this afternoon. In the San Francisco Bay Area, lots of sunshine. You can see looking out toward the Golden Gate Bridge and the Marina Headlands. San Francisco, 60 degrees, and then still lots of clouds and some low clouds up in the Seattle area today, with temperatures struggling to make it into the lower 40s. Here's the satellite. Not too much happening across a good portion of the West Coast. A fairly quiet weather pattern as well. No major storms to track. There is a chance of a few scattered showers in Seattle for tomorrow, with the sun cloud mix into the afternoon hours. Sunshine for San Francisco, some patchy smoke, obviously, for Southern California, and then some mild conditions for the Phoenix area. Temperatures tomorrow under mostly sunny skies will be approaching the lower 70s. In terms of that shower chance, there it is up in the Pacific Northwest tomorrow morning. And then, as you can see, that system kind of falls apart. So no major storms to track over the next few days. And here is your forecast over the next 3 days with some cloud cover in Seattle, temperatures in the 40s. San Francisco could have some more low clouds Friday morning. A stretch of some sunshine for Southern California, but also a bit of a cool down. You can see back down to the 50s, and we'll see more of an onshore breeze, and that should help the fire crews in the short term, Alex, as we do head into Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, it looks like a much more favorable pattern for them. Mark, thank you. First responders from all over the West are on the ground in Southern California tonight. Fox 12's Julia Lopez had a chance to catch up with some firefighters from Oregon who say the battle to control these fires is grueling.
Devastating as this is what we train for.
Christine Pizzullo with Portland Fire and Rescue is on day 6 fighting the Palisades fire.
I've been in a lot of precarious fire predicaments in my years, but by far this one goes down in the history books.
Burning through 23,000 acres along the Southern California coast.
As you can imagine, a lot of heartache down here.
Heartache Pizzullo, an Inglewood native, is feeling herself.
Being born and raised in Southern California and knowing what it looked like, having spent time down here with my family and things like that. Of course, that was that part of going through my mind emotionally, but definitely go mode. Just go mode all the way.
Pizzullo has 7 years experience of wildland firefighting in California that she's been able to share with her team. This morning, they worked in wooded areas to prevent rekindling. On her team's first 24-hour shift, they were in the neighborhoods trying to save homes in the line of fire.
Removing any flammable things, removing things from around the property, anything that could create fuel and feed that fire. We're wetting everything down.
She estimates our local teams saved 20 to 25 homes that day.
There were some homeowners that stayed in the area that we were able to converse with that were just extremely grateful. It was very heartwarming and fulfilling to know that we actually were able to do a whole lot of good.
Pizzullo describes her week as an emotional roller coaster. She's grateful to the community who's been thanking them with food, water, and moral support.
It's hard to receive that, because we're just doing what we're trained to do and what we love to do. This has just been one heck of an experience, and it's not over yet.
And that was Fox 12's Julia Lopez reporting tonight. Hundreds of firefighters from Oregon are helping fight the Palisades and Eaton fires right now. Utah firefighters who've responded to the Palisades fire say that locals are making them feel appreciated for the work they're doing. They shared photos from the fire zone where they say they're helping to defend neighborhoods. Utah's Department of Public Safety says one Southern Californian even sent an email with a personal note of thanks. She wrote that Utah firefighters are helping save lives and giving people a, quote, profound sense of comfort during these difficult times. Coming up tonight on West Coast Wrap, some fire victims say they're angry. Tonight, a man who returned to his burned out home shares his frustration with the response.
I know they're busy fighting other fires, but just why is our street? It just seems like we were neglected.
Also coming up tonight, a major shakeup in the music world. Hip-hop star Drake going after his own music label with a lawsuit. We'll break down how his feud with Southern California rapper Kendrick Lamar is wrapped up in this legal case. Dozens of animals from Los Angeles shelters arrived in the San Francisco Bay Area today. 30 dogs and cats were delivered by the nonprofit Amelia Air Rescue. Rescuers say the Southern California shelters, which were already overcrowded, are overflowing with animals that have been displaced by the wildfires. These adoptable pets are being taken to the San Francisco SPCA Adoption Center to find new homes. A Southern California man is trying to figure out his next steps after losing his family home in the Eaton fire on his birthday. Fox's John Huck is in Altadena with more tonight on how that man and his community are coping and how they're helping each other.
We came to Los Angeles mindful that many of you have contacts here to the city. Many of you may have loved ones, family members, friends who've been affected by the wildfires. It turns out I do too. I've known Robert Packard since 1984 as students at USC. I hate that our reunion happened under these circumstances, but here we are.
So that's the living room. This is the kitchen.
Robert invited us to his home with a look at how it all ended, and this is how it all began. Flames coming from a neighbor's home at 9 a.m. the morning after the fires broke out. His home was gone by 2 p.m. on the day of his 61st birthday.
On January 8th, imagine that. That's the day my house burned down. Happy birthday.
Robert wants to know, where were the firefighters?
The second story is completely gone, you know? And my neighbors are gone, and just, I'm angry too. I mean, I don't know if I'm repeating myself, but that mountain had burned many times during my life. But there was no way that this could ever reach down here, because the fire department wouldn't let that happen, right? Because it would have to burn all these homes, and it did end up burning all these homes. How is that possible? I mean, I know they were busy fighting other fires, but just why is our street? It just seems like we were neglected.
Robert's parents bought the house in 1960. They and his sister have passed on. The house was one of the last physical links he had to them. But you do want to rebuild?
Yeah, I would like to, but I don't know that that's going to be possible, you know? I mean, there's just so many memories here. I mean, I'm 61, and this is my whole life here. And there's so many memories. I mean, all these people.
One thing keeping his mind occupied is his job. He is Chief Financial Officer for LaSalle College Preparatory. This map shows a significant number of the students who had to evacuate the burn zone.
20 families have actually lost their home, and then staff members as well. It really just seems like a bad dream, and I try to get it out of my head and do something, but it just seems to keep coming back, and it's just, can't get rid of it, you know?
Robert School is raising money for the 20 students and staff members affected by the wildfires and displaced by them as well. If you'd like to donate, we have the information up attached to this story on our website, fox5vegas.com. In Altadena, I'm John Huck, Fox 5 News, local Las Vegas.
And you'll also find the link to that fundraising effort up at our website, westcoastwrap.com. It's part of our extensive online coverage of the ongoing disaster in Southern California following those fires. Well, in San Diego, a North County community is battling a proposed housing development, calling it a death trap. The project would add more than 450 homes to the community of Harmony Grove. It's an area that's been deemed a high fire risk and only has one road leading in and out. Leaders say the project would add roughly 3,500 cars to the community, increasing the likelihood of gridlock on the narrow 2-lane exit route. Resident Debbie O'Neill says she knows this threat all too well. When the Cocos fire swept through Harmony Grove in 2014, she says it took them an hour to evacuate.
We left. There were no firefighters here. There were no police here because the fire had come so fast down that hill that there wasn't enough time for anybody to get here to help us evacuate.
Harmony Grove residents have fought off the developer with lawsuits twice in the past. The developer says it has since made safety changes to its plan, including widening that main road. Tonight, 5 men are in custody after a major drug bust in Seattle's Chinatown International District. Fox 13's AJ Janavel explains that locals and city leaders are calling this a point of progress for the city when it comes to crime.
Walk sign is on, crossing South Jackson Street.
This community has been under siege.
City officials call it an effort to clean out the poison infecting one of its oldest neighborhoods.
The Jungle Drug Trafficking Organization preyed upon some of our most vulnerable community members.
Federal officials say the crimes go further than the pounds of meth, heroin, and fentanyl recovered from these 5 local narcos.
And this drug trafficking organization has a history of violence. We seized a staggering 17 firearms.
That's promising. Hey, you know, we're actually putting people, we're going to put people in jail, we're going to keep them there.
For many, the historic Chinatown International District has become notorious for danger.
Unfortunate. I hate it when people call us, we're in the stab zone.
Lots of stabbings, lots of, even shootings, lots of just crazy stuff. I mean, most people I know that work around here would rather work at home.
And today you see it's shuttered doors, fencing, barbed wire.
On Thursday, the now infamous 12th and Jackson, where even King County Metro buses refuse to stop, is cleared out. But like previous cleanup attempts, the problem isn't gone, just relocated a block away.
But I don't want to walk into a big vape cloud of you or smoking off foil.
Richard Ratchford tells me action like these 5 arrests is what eventually brings long-lasting change.
What's the alternative? Nothing? Yeah. Do nothing? Yeah. Well, we've seen what happens when you do nothing.
And that was Fox 13's AJ Janavel reporting tonight. That drug trafficking ring had a history of preying on people in the area who were homeless, had mental health issues, or who were struggling with substance abuse disorders. Well, tonight, Denver-based Frontier Airlines is facing a new fine over delayed flights. Earlier today, the Transportation Department ordered the airline to pay $650,000 in civil penalties. Half of that is set to go to the U.S. Treasury, and the rest of the fine will be suspended if Frontier avoids chronically delayed flights over the next 3 years. The Transportation Department is also suing Southwest Airlines over flight delays. It claims the airline operated 2 chronically delayed flights for months. One of those was between Chicago and Oakland, California. The Transportation Department says it is seeking maximum civil penalties. Now, Southwest issued a statement about the lawsuit that says, in part, quote, any claim that these 2 flights represent an unrealistic schedule is simply not credible when compared with our performance over the past 15 years. In 2024, Southwest led the industry by completing more than 99% of its flights without cancellation. Earlier tonight, people here on the West Coast and across the country watched President Biden deliver his farewell address from the Oval Office. The president began by touting the Mideast ceasefire deal that is set to take effect on Sunday. It includes the release of hostages, including at least 2 Americans, in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. With 5 days left in his term, Biden worked to cement his legacy during tonight's address, talking about leading the nation out of the pandemic and major legislative achievements like the bipartisan infrastructure law and the CHIPS and Science Act.
We've created nearly 17 million new jobs, more than any other single administration, a single term. More people have health care than ever before. And overseas, we've strengthened NATO. Ukraine is still free. And we pulled ahead of our competition with China. And so much more.
Without mentioning President-elect Trump by name, Biden also warned about the rise of an oligarchy concentrating extreme wealth and power in the hands of just a few and threatening the U.S. democracy. This comes as the incoming administration is drawing a roster of tech billionaires as advisors. Up next tonight here on West Coast Wrap, last year's Song of the Summer lands in court. Tonight, why hip-hop star Drake is suing his label over Kendrick Lamar's hit, Not Like Us. Plus, we'll show you how new mothers in Arizona are learning to navigate the challenges of motherhood by going back to school.
Now I feel like I'm found a good community and can get some questions answered.
We're basically the owner's manual of a new mom.
The FDA is banning a common food dye called Red 3. More than 200,000 pounds of the additive are used in foods and drugs every single year, including in cereals, candies, jellies, sweets, and even medicines. Food manufacturers will have until January of 2027 to remove the dye from their products. The additive was barred in cosmetics nearly 35 years ago because of the cancer risk. Studies found tumors linked to the dyes in lab rats. We turn now to the new legal action in the ongoing feud between rapper Drake and Southern California hip-hop star Kendrick Lamar. Today, Drake filed a defamation lawsuit against Universal Music Group for releasing Kendrick Lamar's chart-topping diss track, Not Like Us. In that suit, Drake claims the label put his life and reputation at risk by promoting the song, in which Kendrick Lamar refers to Drake as a pedophile, an allegation that Drake says is false. And Drake is also signed to Universal. And as TMZ reports tonight, there is speculation that this lawsuit may be a negotiating strategy.
In 2022, they make this deal and they ultimately pay Drake something like $400 million. And in him losing the rap battle to Kendrick Lamar, the thought is that his value has now been significantly diminished, and thus UMG could then sign him for a much cheaper rate the next deal.
A new resource tonight, or we should tell you that Universal Music Group, they responded to that lawsuit, and they said that everything in there is untrue. We'll move along here and tell you about a new resource that has popped up for mothers in Arizona. It's a school that offers classes for different stages of motherhood and baby development. Fox's Desiree Fluellen is in the city of Gilbert with more on the new mom school.
The new mom school in Gilbert is helping mothers navigate the unknown.
We offer in-person classes where we group the babies together by age so that the moms are going through the same stage of motherhood together and learning resources taught by visiting experts from the community.
These postnatal education classes are broken down into groups, starting with the newborn class.
We move into infant sleep because we know that that is one of the most wanted topics of babies and moms. And then we move into pediatric PT, we go into relationship, we go into worry and anxiety. We try to cover everything that you would be Googling as a new mom. We're basically the owner's manual of a new mom.
Other phases include infant, rising toddler, second-time moms, and a free breastfeeding support group. Experts throughout the 8-week series vary, from registered dietitians like Jasmine, who teaches intro to solids.
What we're looking for, when do we start feeding, how are we going to be feeding our babies,
to pediatric PTs like Tree, helping us track baby's development.
Right after actually birth, you can start doing tummy time with the baby, and at 3 months they should be able to push up on their elbow and look around and lift their head pretty good.
The new mom school is a resource these 3 moms are excited to have.
And I had our first class with them last week, and now I feel like I'm found a good community and can get some questions answered.
Just connecting with more moms of his same age, having children of his same age, and learning more things about things that we're going through right now, like separation anxiety.
I think it's really important that you have support and you have community.
Yeah, it's great to see those new mothers finding a community and finding the support that they need. That was Fox 10's Desiree Fluellen reporting tonight from Arizona. The school's operators say their mission is to fundamentally change the way that mothers are cared for. Finally, tonight, a major find for a team of researchers in the Pacific Northwest. They say they have discovered a massive amount of water underneath the Cascade Mountains in Oregon. These researchers with the University of Oregon believe this aquifer could hold about 3 times the amount of water that's in Lake Mead in the southern Nevada-Arizona area. They say that this must be protected and that it also needs further study. Really important to find there. That does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate you watching. As always, and a quick reminder before we go, you can stay up to date on all the major stories we're covering across the West, including the fight against those fires in Southern California, by going to westcoastwrap.com. Have a great night.